Welcome back. So continuing where we left off last time, we're going to start by creating a new simulation. As a reminder, we do this by hitting the New button here. This will create a new simulation that is going to be empty. Now to start, you're going to want to create a name for your simulation. In this case, I'm going to name it My First Simulation. Okay. Next, you're able to choose a space for your scenario. You're able to select them or change what it is you're looking at by navigating to the left or the right along this passage here, and I'm going to select the public classroom. If you have updated or uploaded any of your own spaces for your own use, this would be in the private section, or if they've been shared to you, this is where you would be able to select them. If your account is like mine and none has been shared with you though, those will be blank. So, once you have selected the space for your scenario to take place in, simply hit Create. This will create your simulation as well as the date that it was last modified, and again, you can change the name or make changes to it here. To begin editing your simulation, you would click the pencil icon for Edit. This will load us into the simulation space where we'll be able to go through, create, and practice the scene layout function. So, within scene layout, this is going to be where you are initially placed. You are able to navigate in the scene layout by going through all of these functions here. First are the methods for controlling the camera while you are in the edit mode. You can use the middle mouse wheel button, which is, if you press it down, you can pan the camera. You can use right click and hold to rotate the camera. And we can see our space here. You can also move the camera in the corresponding directions with either the arrow keys or WAS and D. And this, in conjunction with the other camera controls, lets you freely move about the space. You can also use the mouse wheel scroll to zoom in and out. Next, let's talk about the Assets section. So over here, you're going to see your assets. There's a search bar over here where you're able to type in the name of any asset that you are looking for. And it will limit the search based off of what's available in the repository that you are currently searching within. Next is this drop-down, which, like before, is where you can change which selection of objects are available to you from what repository you are looking in, whether that is our public repository, your own private one, ones that have been shared with you, and any other organizations that you are a part of. Let's stay in the public repository for now. To change between the virtual objects and the virtual people tab, you would click these two buttons. Okay, we're going to stay in virtual objects for now. In order to spawn anything from the Assets tab, whether an object or a person, you simply click on the object, and as long as you do not click, the object will be following your cursor. You can left click to place the object, and if you hold, it will be attached to your mouse, and you can rotate it by dragging your mouse left or right in order to orient it in whichever way you choose. Do not worry, there are other tools to modify it afterwards, after it has been placed. Let's go over those tools now. So, moving over to this section here, we have the Asset Movement tools. The first tool is the Select tool. If you have this tool and you click anywhere, you will deselect any object or select any object that you click. You can select regardless of what tool you are on, but if you want to be careful and make sure you do not do any other adjustments while doing so, using the selection tool is very helpful. You are also able to select objects from the object browser, which we will get to in a moment. The next tool is the Move XZ tool. When you are using this tool, you can either click on the object in question or on empty space. When you click and drag, the object will move in the corresponding direction in the X and Z plane. Next is the Movement Y tool. When you are on this tool, your movement will be constrained into the Y plane so you can move objects up or down. Please do keep in mind that when using either of the movement tools, objects can be placed inside of other physical objects, like the walls and the floor. It is up to you to arrange them properly so that your simulation makes sense for your purposes. Next is the Rotate tool, which will rotate the object on the Y-axis. You can click and drag to rotate the object left or right. Next is the Scale tool. This will let you scale your objects up or down in all three axes at once. Okay, so you can make your objects bigger or smaller, whatever it is that you need. And last but not least is the Delete tool. Using this, you can select an object to delete it from your object hierarchy. So here you can see a warning as you want to delete, and if you do not want to be warned, you can click the Confirm button here. Okay, and if you click Confirm Delete, the object will be deleted. Over here, we have the Undo and Redo functions. So if you've made a mistake in deleting an object or spawning one, you can hit the Undo or Redo functions to repeat the action. For your environments, we also have various skyboxes that you're able to select and view from. So if you want to change it from the default to something more appropriate, you can change it here, and you can see the sky will change to match outside. If you do not like the axes showing when you are selecting objects, you can remove them with the Show Axes button, which will hide or show it, depending on what you prefer. The last button in the Asset Movement Tools section of the scenario flow is the Set Spawn Position. So this pink cube with a yellow arrow sticking out of it is indicative of where a user will enter and what direction they will initially be facing when dropped into our simulation. If you want to change that, you can left-click on the Set Spawn Position, and that will attach the spawn position to your cursor. Simply left-click once to drop it in space, and then you can rotate your mouse left or right in order to change the orientation. Once you are satisfied with the orientation, left-click once more, and it will be placed. Lastly, we have the Object Browser section. We will go into more detail here as we populate this with objects, but this is where you can see every object that you've put into your scene, select it, as well as view their inspector properties here. And if you have multiple pages of objects, you would navigate through it here. In the Inspector section, you'll be able to go through the virtual objects or the specific player attributes. You're able to create player attributes here, and the most important one that is consistent across all VR simulations is what will the controller appear to users. By default, it will be the base controller, but if you want to change it, you have the options to do so here. I'm going to set it to male pale skin here as an example, and then go back to my virtual object sections. And with that, that covers everything you need to know about the location of the scene layout function. Join me next time where we'll talk about spawning objects and putting them into our environment as well as going through the basic properties. Thank you.